Digital Influx are a London-based EdTech company. We're offering a 12-part course for 8 to 11-year-olds to learn the basics of user experience principles and design thinking. Programs relating to STEM are important, as children should be taught how to think, not what to think. The course aims to develop their problem-solving, teamwork, and critical thinking skills, among many more. Each lesson will have short videos and games to make sure your experience is fun and memorable and fits with your own learning style. And it improves soft skills by using real-life practical examples to improve empathy. To learn more, please visit digitalinflux.com.
My nephew, who's I think 6 now, he's already a UX designer. He's building Minecraft, so that blows my mind. What I think about it is, honestly, I would say it's essential. And even if the child grows up to not pursue a career in UX or design or related, UX has this interesting part to it, which is it trains human empathy. Right? It trains the person to try and relate to other human and understand their pains or their problems, or if they see somebody struggling with something, they can on a deeper level understand or try to figure out why they're struggling and not just get annoyed by that, right? Because one of the biggest problems with us human beings is the fact that when you give somebody something, right, and suddenly you see them struggling with this, a pen, I can't open a pen. You have this innate urge to, oh, just give it back to me. I'll do it for you, right? It's a bit of an annoyance of seeing other humans not figuring out things the way you figure out things, right? And so I think that's the part that can be trained from early age, and even if the person grows up to be something else or whatever else, right? We'll have that ability to empathize and see humans a bit deeper than just, yet another person walking on the street or person they're interacting with. And more so, I'll take it even farther than that. If those kids grow up to be politicians, oh my God, we're gonna have a much, much better world. I'm not kidding. I honestly feel that politicians, they either have to take a course in UX before they become politicians, or they have to have a UX on their team. Otherwise, whatever they say, whatever they try to do, it's basically useless. It's like every single time a politician comes out and says, majority of the people want that. My immediate question is that, how do you know? Did you literally went out and asked every single one of them? Did you conduct an actual Did you conduct an actual study? Or did you just send 3 or 4 guys on your team to run some polls? And polls are run on questionnaires, and questionnaires, as we all know here on the panel, typically are not as accurate, because the answers of these polls can be based on how I feel right now, how I feel about the subject. Am I happy in this moment or not, right? And so UX is a fundamental subject that I believe should be part of the curriculum from an early age and throughout the education system, right? Not only 8 to 10, but then farther than that, and then high school and college and so on and so forth. It will fundamentally change our world.
I agree with Yan. And one thing that I would want to point out is I am not a big fan of the word UX. And I have my own reasons for it, but I feel like in schools, it's more, as Yan mentioned, it's more important to teach empathy than anything, because UX, whenever you say UX, people or kids especially, they're like, oh, I want to learn how to design apps. I want to learn how to make wireframes. And that's not what UX is really about. It's about making it simpler, making it easier for you to achieve certain task or like finish something. And this is my opinion. There is definitely a more nuance, and it's a broad term. But I do feel like human-centered design is something that we should start teaching at a young age, for sure. There are certain principles or certain uh, empathy related teachings that can definitely benefit a lot of different schools. For example, in engineering, I don't know how often everybody else works with engineers on a daily basis, but you will notice that engineering solution is not always or most of the time considered as a good solution for putting in front of a customer, because an engineering solution usually focuses around the technology. And engineers, the way engineers think is like, if I know how to use this, everybody else knows how to use this, or we can teach them to use this. Intuition is not always taken into consideration. And I'm only talking from a product perspective. But yes, empathy and teaching kids that if you're innovating something, if you're creating something, and if you want other people to use it, if you want other people to understand it, you need to integrate empathy in what you're designing. That is something that definitely should be taught.
I 110% agree with both of you. And yeah, just, yeah, the idea of like teaching it not just as here is, you know, a fast growing career, you know, that's doing a lot of cool things, which is true, but almost like taking that zoom back and thinking about like what are just the life and, you know, engaging with society types of skills that we want to teach kids. That also translates into a number of different professional fields, UX being one of them, but government being another. I know, you know, both of you were talking about it at the start as well. Yeah, just this idea of human-centered design as a framework for, I don't know, it's almost like a lot of people have been advocating recently as well about how great it would be to get like critical thinking education into schools, right? Let's maybe, you know, starting to, it's a whole other story, but like just the idea of like, why are we still teaching, you know, like calculus and, you know, like very specific subject matters and aren't really like connecting kind of the larger themes that are going to be important in terms of skills for kids to move forward with. So I think critical thinking is one of them. Empathy is another. You know, healthy relationships and just kind of more comprehensive health education is another, and how to just treat other people well. And yeah, this idea of like how to craft, how to think about things from a like, what is the end goal that I'm shooting for? What are the best ways to get there? And then who are all the different people that are going to be impacted by this decision? And how do we weigh like really good, you know, it's important for a business to stay in business or else they can't provide a service, right? But it's also important for their service to be equitable and to be good, you know? So like basically just how to learn how to make those types of trade-offs could be useful in a technical field. And I don't know, just about anything. So yeah, echoing all those.
I would say there's probably not much I can add to all of the opinions that have been said so far, other than to echo the empathy aspect of it. I think it can promote curiosity, being able to ask the right questions, to think things through more methodically perhaps, and think more objectively than, I think we've probably all worked with clients and people within business that personify a problem and see themselves as the customer, when that never really is the case for majority of things, and doesn't always help what you're trying to accomplish. So maybe being able to think objectively in that way. But yeah, I think fundamentally UX is about trying to help people when it comes down to it, and should hopefully encourage a more kind of selfless, global, inclusive point of view, and hopefully encourage people to be less selfish in that way and think more broadly and not just about yourself, and trying to encourage all to be that way. So I think it could be a great thing.